completely obliterated, hanging right off of the palm. I am ignoring the heavily biological panic and keeping it totally calm. Dipping the hand in the bucket and rubbing the carbonate directly into the cuts. I am completely keeping the heavily physical biological avenue shut. The chemical burn is incredibly sharp, stinging the tissue right down to the nerve. I am accepting the physical penalty, taking exactly what I absolutely deserve. The white powder mixing directly with red. I am erasing the voice in the head, packing the chalk in the open abrasion. I am surviving the heavy invasion. The wound is burning, the chemical bites. I am surviving the heavily nights. Grip it. Chalk in the wound, ignore the sting. I am the heavily underground king. The powder is drying, the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I am returning to enter the fight. Chalk in the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of the stock domain. Drying the liquid, creating a temporary and physical seal. I am completely adapting the anatomy right to the feeling of heavily steel. The sting is a localized, heavily violent distraction, attempting to shatter the mind. But I am entirely leaving the cowardly, heavily pitiful people behind. Grabbing the knurling and pressing the injury directly into the metal again. I am the absolute, heavily disciplined, totally violent, physical 10. The friction is pulling the tear even worse. I am defeating the physical curse. The wound is burning, the chemical bites. Underground king, the powder is drying, the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I'm returning to enter the fight. Choking the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of the stock domain. The burn fades out, the grip is stone. I sit on the heavily physical throne. Hold fast. Is real. I am a magnet attached to the steel. Choking the wound, ignore the sting. I am the heavily underground king. The powder is drying, the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I am returning to enter the fight. Choking the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of this dark domain. The powder dries. The grip holds. Pulling the slack from the heavily loaded cylinder, hearing the click of the metal plate. I am securing the absolute maximum tension, preparing to violently dictate the fate. The barbell is leaving the rubbery floor and immediately bending directly in half. I am ignoring the heavily biological screaming, it's tearing the right into the calf. The center is rising, the bumper is lagging behind in a physical violent delay. I am correcting the micro adjustments, ensuring the heavily center of gravity stay. The kinetic energy suddenly stepping right back at the top of the lift. I am accepting the violently, heavily dangerous physical gift. The steel vibrating, shaking the bone. I am surviving the struggle alone. The metal is whipping, the balance is tested. I am the heavily force manifested. absorbing the shockwave and holding a heavily physical violent blow. The bar is attempting to violently rebound, whipping the energy into the spine. I am entirely bracing the structure, ensuring the biological system is fine. If the night were roaming, inertia will instantly shatter the physical hold. I am performing exactly whatever the heavily technical discipline told. The vibration travels right into the hand. I am the most solid inside of the land. The metal is whipping, the balance is tested. I am the heavily force manifested. Fight the bar whip, stay the frame. I am the most solid inside of the land. The steel is protecting the skeleton, testing my best as a lesson of core. Locking the joint and demanding for more. Fight the bar whip, anchor the beat. I am refusing to suffer defeat. The vibration slows, the barbell stops. I wait for the signal before it all drops. Hold steady. Absorb the tremor, lock out the knee. Nobody doing it harder than me. The bar stops shaking, the rep is complete. I am the fire that generates speed. Fight the bar whip, stay the frame. I am the master controlling the game. The steel is violently shaking the skeleton, testing the physical absolute core. Locking the joint, demanding for more. Fight the bar whip, anchor the beat. I am refusing to suffer defeat. The vibration dies, the weight descends.
Picking the heavily, violently battered machinery left in the absolute back of the room. I am grabbing the heavily crooked and absolute cylinder, building a physical tomb. The metal is permanently bent from the heavy abuse of a violently heavier past. I am operating the terrible instrument, making sure heavily physical energy lasts. Holding the bump of the collar is totally sticking right onto the heavily oxidized rust. I am blowing the heavily terrible, heavily violently physical carbonate dust. The left side is hanging a millimeter low. I am preparing to heavily physically go. The balance is totally, absolutely thrown. I am surviving the struggle alone. The barbell is crooked, the knurling is smooth. I have absolutely nothing to prove. Grip it! The bent barbell, crooked and old, doing exactly what discipline told. The gravity pulling entirely wrong. I am the singer of a heavy violent song, fighting the balance and knocking the core. I am demanding for heavily more. Symmetrical metal directly, completely right up to the ceiling. I am navigating the heavily absolute terrible biological physical feeling. The right hand is carrying heavily 30% of a violently heavily absolute extra degree. I am entirely heavily pushing the completely horrible physical limit inside of me. Adjusting the grip on the fly, compensating for heavily terrible physical curve, and forcing the biological system to totally perfectly highly successfully serve. No perfect conditions, no beautiful gear. I am the only one operating here. The barbell is crooked, the knurling is smooth. I have absolutely nothing to prove. The bent barbell, crooked and old, doing exactly what discipline told. The gravity pulling entirely wrong. I am the singer of a heavy violent song, fighting the balance and feel, making the body obey what I feel. The bar is uneven but totally locked. I'm leaving the entire room shocked. Dub and barbell, crooked and old, doing exactly what discipline told. The gravity pulling entirely wrong. I am the singer of a heavily violent song. Balancing the balance and locking the core. I am demanding for heavily more. The crooked bar drops, the straight rep counts. The heavily absolute fluorescent lighting is totally violently shutting directly right down. I am the absolute heavily physical, totally terrible, heavily final survivor in town. The janitor heavily pushing the terrible broom in the totally absolute back of the room. I am preparing to completely violently finish the absolute heavily physical tune. The speaker is totally violently silent. The heavily absolute music is already killed. I am remembering completely perfectly every biological promise I fully fulfilled. I have an entirely heavy remaining completely totally absolute physical set. I'm paying the final biological debt. The building is closing, the shadow is cast. I am the only survivor to last. Pull! Closing time. The final attempt. I am completely and heavily exempt. The absolute silence is filling the space. I am erasing the look on your face. Lifting the heavy alone in the dark. Leaving a heavily permanent mark. Gripping the knurling and taking the oxygen directly right into the absolute physical. I am completely respecting the absolute heavily terrible, violently dangerous floor. Yeah, the vacuum of heavily absolute silence is making the heavily physical breathing completely incredibly loud. I am avoiding the absolute heavily physically terribly absolutely amateur crowd. The repetition is totally perfect. The heavily physical absolute limit is properly reached. I am remembering entirely totally heavily everything that the discipline teach. Wrecking the bar in the heavily dark. I am retrieving the absolute spark. The building is closing, the shadow is cast. I am the only survivor to last. Closing time. The final attempt. I am completely and heavily exempt. The absolute silence is filling the space. I am erasing the look on your face. Lifting the heavy alone in the dark. Leaving a heavily permanent mark.
The shift is done. The floor is clean. I am the heavily ultimate machine.
Finish it. Stop the machinery, walk to the door. Leaving silently rolling directly right down to the tip of the calloused hand. I am desperately fighting to absolutely ensure that I properly violently stand. The pinky is open and giving out first under absolute heavily physical strain. I am sending a desperate heavily emergency signal directly right into the brain. The bar is slipping a heavily dangerous physical fraction of an inch to the floor. I am completely demanding the tendon and ligament pull for a heavily more. Gravity tearing the cylinder out of the palm. I am losing the physical calm, hitching the thigh to completely support it. I am refusing to drop it, abort it.
The fingers are failing, the bar rolling down. I am the heaviest king in the town.
Hold! The slipping grip, fight for the hold. Doing exactly what discipline told. The fingers are open and tearing the skin, but I am refusing to let the weight win. Racing the clock to the top of the lift. I am accepting the physical gift. Middle are taking the total capacity, screaming in absolute pain. I am surviving the heavily violent and perfectly beautiful physical rage. The clock is ticking, I need to completely lock out the hip before the cylinder drops. I am the absolute heavily physical violent juggernaut that never stops. Shrugging the shoulder and pushing the chest to the ceiling, accelerating the pace. I am completely erasing the absolute panic directly right out of the face. The metal is hanging by absolute thread. I am awaking the soul from the dead.
Are failing, the bar rolling down. I am the heaviest king in the town.
The slipping grip, fight for the hold. Doing exactly what discipline told. The fingers are open and tearing the skin, but I am refusing to let the weight win. Racing the clock to the top of the lift. I am accepting the physical gift.
The grip is gone. The willpower remains. I pull the absolute blood through the veins.
Lock it out. Signals the rep is complete. I am refusing to suffer defeat. The slipping grip, fight for the hold. Doing exactly what discipline told. The fingers are open and tearing the skin, but I am refusing to let the weight win. Racing the clock to the top of the lift. I am accepting the physical gift.
Looking directly right into the heavily fluorescent lighting, reflecting the physical frame. I am achieving the heavily absolute physical goal, but the feeling is exactly the same. The shoulder is broader, the bicep is thicker, the heavily physical measurement totally grew. But I am entirely staring at heavily, violently, heavily pitiful absolute view. The mind is a terribly dangerous filter, distorting the absolute heavily physical facts. I am remaining entirely, totally, constantly, completely under the mental attack. I look at the mirror and see the beginner. I am the heavily physical sinner. The hunger is never completely satisfied. I am deeply, incredibly, violently terrified.
The mirror is lying, the shadow is small. I am refusing to physically fall.
Look, never big enough, starving the mind, leaving the heavily standard behind. The heavily physical goal is a ghost. I am the heavily dangerous, terrible host, chasing a perfectly heavily physical dream, hearing the biological heavily scream. Heavily physical uniform, completely, tightly, incredibly down to the seam. I am entirely failing to recognize absolutely heavily physical team. The heavily absolute terrible dysmorphia, heavily taking a permanent seat in the brain. I am successfully turning the heavily beautiful progress directly right into the pain. I step to the heavily loaded machinery, wanting to totally, violently, heavily fix it. I am a heavily dangerous, terrible, heavily physical, heavily absolute addict. No finish line on the physical track. I am surviving the mental attack.
The mirror is lying, the shadow is small. I am refusing to physically fall.
Never big enough, starving the mind, leaving the heavily standard behind. The heavily physical goal is a ghost. I am the heavily dangerous, terrible host, chasing a perfectly heavily physical dream, hearing the biological heavily scream. The standard moves, the reflection shifts. I am buried beneath all the heavily lifts. Keep pushing. Controlling the ultimate fate. The hunger is permanent, totally raw. I am enforcing the heaviest law. Never big enough, starving the mind, leaving the heavily standard behind. The heavily physical goal is a ghost. I am the heavily dangerous, terrible host, chasing a perfectly heavily physical dream, hearing the biological heavily scream. The reflection lies, the iron tells the truth. Hey. already completely obliterated, hanging right off of the palm. I am ignoring the heavily biological panic and keeping it totally calm. Dipping the hand in the bucket and rubbing the carbonate directly into the cut. I am completely keeping the heavily physical biological avenue shut. The chemical burn is incredibly sharp, stinging the tissue right down to the nerve. I am accepting the physical penalty, taking exactly what I absolutely deserve. The white powder mixing directly with red. I am erasing the voice in the head, packing the chalk in the open abrasion. I am surviving the heavy invasion. The wound is burning, the chemical bites. I am surviving the heavily nights. Grip it. Chalk in the wound, ignore the sting. I am the heavily underground king. The powder is drying the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I am returning to enter the fight. Chalk in the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of this dark domain. Magnesium carbonate drying the liquid, creating a temporary and physical seal. I am completely adapting the anatomy right to the feeling of heavily steel. The sting is a localized, heavily violent distraction attempting to shatter the mind. But I am entirely leaving the cowardly, heavily pitiful people behind. Grabbing the knurling and pressing the injury directly into the metal again. I am the absolute, heavily disciplined, totally violent, physical 10. The friction is pulling the tear even worse. I am defeating the physical curse. The wound is burning, the chemical bites. I am surviving the heavily night. Chalk in the wound, ignore the sting. I am the heavily underground king. The powder is drying the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I am returning to enter the fight. Chalk in the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of this dark domain. The burn fades out, the grip is stone. I sit on the heavily physical throne. Hold fast! Squeeze on the injury, don't let it go. I am delivering the heaviest blow. The pain is an illusion, the focus is real. I am a magnet attached to the steel. Shock in the wound, ignore the sting. I am the heavily underground king. The powder is drying the blood on the skin, packing the injury completely tight. I am returning to enter the fight. Chalk in the wound, lock up the pain. I am the ruler of this dark domain. The powder dries, the grip holds.
Hitting the heavily absolute fire, I'm instantly reaching directly right out to the stack. I am pulling the pin and completely removing the heavily violently physical weight from the back. Moving the metal selected directly to heavily violently absolute 30%. I am ensuring the totally heavily biological energy truly is heavily spent. No hesitation, no rest in the middle. I grab on the handle and violently pull it again. I am completely enduring the absolute heavily terrible violently physical pain. The lactic acid is flooding the cell. I am descending directly to hell, dropping the weight and repeating the rep. I am heavily taking the step.
The pin is adjusted, the resting is zero.
I am the heavily physical hero. Pull. exactly how the discipline win. The muscle is totally failing to move. I have absolutely, completely nothing to prove.
Dropping the tension and squeezing the grip.
I am the captain commanding the ship. The final set is incredibly light, but it feels like an absolute heavily metric ton. I am entirely finishing heavily, violently, beautifully everything that I've begun. The bicep is cramping, the forearm is burning, the physical tissue is heavily, totally fried. I am exploring the terribly, violently, deeply disturbing machinery deep on the inside. Reaching directly right out to the stack for the heavily, absolute, heavily final adjustment. I am surviving the heavily physical, absolute, violently heavy and brutal bombardment. The stack is entirely, practically bare. I am breathing the oxygen air.
The pin is adjusted, the resting is zero.
I am the heavily physical hero. The heavy drum set, pulling the pin. This is exactly how the discipline win. The muscle is totally failing to move. I have absolutely, completely nothing to prove.
Dropping the tension and squeezing the grip.
I am the captain commanding the ship.
The stack is light, the movement is slow. I deliver the heavily ultimate blow, 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 blow.
Squeeze. Grind out the final, empty the tank, taking the deposit right straight to the bank. The muscle is paralyzed, dropping the cord. I am the heavily underground low. The heavy drop set, pulling the pin. This is exactly how the discipline win. The muscle is totally failing to move. I have absolutely, completely nothing to prove.
Dropping the tension and squeezing the grip.
I am the captain commanding the ship. The stack drops. The muscle fails.
Staying away from the iron is actually violently harder than pulling a physical max. I am navigating the heavily psychological war and surviving the mental attacks. The central nervous system is demanding a heavily biological day to repair, but I am aggressively staring at the ceiling and breathing the empty and oxygen air. The muscle is twitching, the body is itching, I'm feeling a phantom, incredibly heavy fatigue. I am suffering safely away from the heavily violent and underground physical league. The logic is telling me heavily rest, but the ego is begging to completely test. Sitting at home with an absolute dread, I am fighting the enemy inside the head.
The mind is racing, the body is still.
I am suppressing the physical will. Wait!
The force still load, fighting the urge. I am completely controlling the purge. The muscle is begging to violently lift,
But I am refusing the heavily dangerous gift. Sitting in silence and letting it heal. I am a magnet away from the steel. Walking around in the living room feeling completely depleted of absolute physical drive. I am questioning whether the heavily violent machinery actually keeping me fully alive. The discipline isn't exactly just pushing the gravity violently up to the heavily sky. It is knowing exactly the heavily absolute moment to let the capacity quietly die. Resting the tendon, repairing the tissue, preparing to violently bounce to the ultimate top. I'm forcing the violently dangerous physical engine to absolutely, totally stop. Patience is heavily harder than pain. I'm driving myself completely insane.
the mind is racing, the body is still. I am suppressing the physical will. The force deload, fighting the urge.
I am completely controlling the purge.
The muscle is begging to violently lift,
But I am refusing the heavily dangerous gift. Sitting in silence and letting it heal. I am a magnet
The rest is a weapon, the recovery is key. I am unlocking the heavily physical me. Be still.
To violently lift, but I am refusing the heavily dangerous gift, sitting in silence and letting it heal. I am a magnet away from the steel. The rest day ends, the recovery is complete.
Cylinder totally upward and clearing the heavily physical peg. I am transferring the massive capacity right to the shoulder and into the leg. The transition of gravity shifting from stationary metal directly to blown. I am entirely holding the absolute physical suffering totally all on my own. The barbell is swaying a fraction, I violently stabilize right in the palm of the hand. I am preparing to violently execute everything that I get brutally planned. The rest is compressed by the absolute ton. I am ensuring the battle is won, holding the mass in the starting position. I am fulfilling the heavy condition.
The liftoff is heavy, the structure is loaded.
The central nervous system exploded. Brace! Clear the pegs, take on the mass. I am surviving the heaviest class. The gravity drops on the biological system, testing the absolute structural frame. I am the master controlling the game. Clear the pegs, steady the sway. I am surviving the absolute day. The unracking requires incredibly massive amounts of the physical core. I am completely extracting the energy directly right from the heavily floor. If the liftoff is sloppy, the entire repetition is practically violently doomed. I am assuring the absolute technical form is incredibly quickly resumed. The shoulder blade pinching directly into the pad, providing the physical base. I am completely erasing the absolute heavily temporary panic right out of the face. The bar settles down in the center of grip. I am the captain commanding the ship.
The liftoff is heavy, the structure is loaded.
The central nervous system exploded. Clear the pegs, take on the mass. I am surviving the heaviest class. The gravity drops on the biological system, testing the absolute structural frame. I am the master controlling the game. Clear the pegs, steady the sway. I am surviving the absolute
The rack is clear, the weight is mine. I step right over the physical line.
descent. Don't let it crash. I am converting the limit to ash. The liftoff is perfect, the posture is tight. I am preparing to enter the fight. Hear the pace, take on the mass. I am surviving the heaviest class. The gravity drops on the biological system, testing the absolute structural frame. I am the master controlling the game. Clear the peg, steady the sway. I am surviving the absolute test.
The weight transfers, the descent begins.
Doing the math in the head, calculating the absolute sum of the plates on the side. I am completely aware that there's absolutely nowhere left for the body to hide. This is a number that I have incredibly never attempted to physically pull. I am ensuring the psychological, biological energy tank is completely full. The mind is whispering total, incredibly, heavily dangerous, logical doubt. I am violently shutting it down. I am totally ripping it completely out. Staring directly right into the unknown. I am preparing to step on the throne. The territory is completely uncharted. I am exactly where I finally started.
The math is heavy, the record is new. I am attempting what nobody do.
Step up! The uncharted weight! Break through the wall! I am the one that will conquer them all. The number is intimidating the brain, but I am entirely breaking the chain. Stepping right into the physical dark, leaving a permanent heavily mark.
Leaving a permanent heavily mark.
The fear of the failure is actively trying to hijack the central and physical nerve. I am completely demanding exactly what I incredibly, totally, heavily deserve. If I hesitate for a heavily fraction of a second, the gravity definitely wins. This is exactly the moment the absolute, heavily violent victory quickly begins. I close the eyes and visualize lifting the cylinder completely right off of the floor. I am completely unlocking and violently kicking directly the heavily door. No turning back from the personal best. I am officially passing the test.
The math is heavy, the record is new.
I am attempting what nobody do. The uncharted weight, break through the wall. I am the one that will conquer them all. The number is intimidating the brain, but I am entirely breaking the chain. Stepping right into the physical dark, leaving a permanent heavily mark.
The doubt is quiet. The target is locked. I am leaving the entire room shocked. Commit to it.
Grab on the cylinder, shut off the brain. I am the ruler of physical pain. The uncharted territory completely is crossed. I am retrieving the thing